Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Stock Talk Thursday. It is December 16th, and we are doing our last Stock Talk Thursday of the year. So the next 2 weeks, there will not be a Stock Talk Thursday. We'll come back again the first Thursday in January in the new year. Just want to make sure you all are aware of that. Please throw in comments, questions if you have any. I'd love for this to be an interactive time together. I can see your comments and questions here now, so I am all ready to go on that front. Without further ado, let's just jump right in and look at the overall market, and then we'll review what was hot and not last week, and then what I believe is hot and what's not this week. So let's get a chart pulled up here, and let's take a look at this. Whoops. I'm hitting wrong buttons here, but that's okay because the right buttons are coming. Here we go. You guys should be able to see my screen right now. And the market today is down a little bit, but let's back it up. Last Thursday, we were right up in this area right here, and you can see it tested that high again. That resistance level somewhere right around 4,700 on the overall S&P. It tested that, came down, and then went up and tested it again yesterday. So yesterday, what was the big thing in the news? It was the Fed announcement. And, whatever they said, the market really liked, because you see this really big clear candlestick coming up here, but only went right up to that same resistance level. So whatever they said, they didn't like it that much to push through those all-time highs and resistance level. And you can see today we opened up pretty close to where we closed yesterday, and then it came back down. And so now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 touches on those highs right there, and still no breakthrough. If you remember last week, I was telling you that within Tradeway, we are in a squirrel market. And, that we're in a squirrel market when it's just really difficult to trade because things are just not really lining up. Market tone and technicals and not really lining up very well. And we're seeing that here. There's been some back and forth. Even now, we're at resistance and we come down, but then I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow we're right back up at that resistance level. It's like the market doesn't know what it wants to do. It cannot make up its mind. Love to see it break that resistance level and get some clear, more precise, just a market that is more easily tradable, because that's kind of what we're about, right? We just want to have some nice, easy trading so that we can get some good wins under our belt. So that's a quick overview on the market. Let's take a quick look at last week's hot and not, see how those guys are doing. So if you remember last week, our hot stock was Apple. Now, I think Apple could be a hot stock a lot of times because in the last 20 years, it's just been really hot quite a bit. You can see it was quite hot. And I believe last week, Thursday, we were looking at this day right here. And the next day, last week, Friday, it shot up again. But then Monday, pretty big, it was still above the 5 EMA, but that's a pretty big solid candlestick right here. And it's kind of cooled off a little bit. You can see what today did. Today was a pretty big down day, even closing below the 10-day exponential moving average. So, I also noticed it's a smaller one, but you have a little bit of an M forming here. For those of you that know, an M can sometimes mean a bearish pattern is coming. So we'll have to see if Apple still remains hot or if it starts to really come on down. Well, what was not hot last week? Last week, our not hot was RNG. And you can see, so last week, Thursday, we were sitting on this big solid candlestick, and it has not really turned around or done anything promising, at least for a bullish outlook. It stayed below the 5 EMA. Today closed the lowest that it has in a very long time. So RNG still not hot. Want to show you guys something interesting I saw today. and it kind of piqued my interest, and I thought, I want to share this as well. This is maybe slightly off topic, but let's look at this on this new Charts by Tradeway platform. Let's take a look at one of the opening screens here, and I want to draw your attention to this visual on the top right here where my mouse is circling over. And this is a look at what are the sectors doing overall within the market. And we're specifically looking at today. So you can see today, tech was down quite a bit. It was a bad day for tech. And that reflects in Apple. We just looked at Apple and you could see that big solid candle sit down. And so tech was down. You had consumer cyclical was down a little bit, and then you had most everything up, everything else up, including communication services, which was up quite a bit, and basic materials, which was up quite a bit as well. And you see most everything was up, yet just a couple things were down, and the overall market, if we go back to the S&P, had a down day. So that kind of gives you an idea, it goes to show how powerful tech is in our economy, because most everything was up, tech was down, and it pulled the whole overall market down with it. Apple, like we just saw, had a down day. I know Microsoft had a down day as well. So anyway, just thought it was kind of an interesting thing, because while we're talking about what's hot and what's not, I'll go back to this here. We can just look at the sectors right here. Today, what was not hot? Well, tech, consumer cyclical. What was hot? You had the basic materials, communication services. We could look at this over a week. What was hot, what was not. So what was hot? Healthcare, consumer defensive was hot. Let's look at this over the last month just for fun here. Man, energy, not hot at all. And then healthcare still pretty hot. Utilities still hot. So when we're talking about what's hot and what's not, I was like, whoa, this graphic is perfect. I might be pulling this graphic out every single week. Just a warning, because the more I look at it, the more I think it's pretty cool. So now I know what you guys have been waiting for, and what is hot and what's not right now. So here's what I found. First, we're going to do what is hot. And let's take a look at LLY. And you can look at the last couple days here. Yesterday, massive day, gapped up, raced up above this previous resistance. If I were to throw a line on here real quick, there we go. So you can see a line right there where there are two previous touches as some resistance. And yesterday, it blew right through that as if it didn't even exist. Today, didn't even look back. Every bit of today was higher than this line, and closed higher than yesterday. And you look at LLY, and they're a pharmaceutical company, and their big news was they struck a deal with some type of COVID treatment that they had going. So obviously that's going to really push things up. And they were really hot yesterday, still hot today. And you look at the last year, this is a zoomed out view now of the last year. You can see it's uptrending, right? You got a low, a high, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows again, making higher highs, all-time highs now. So definitely a hot one. Let's throw another line on here just for fun. You can see this guy right here. That's a really solid uptrend line. So, it takes two touches, 2 points to make a line, and 3 points to make a trend. You got 1, 2, 3 right there. So this stock, again, with a lot of these that we show that are hot, they might be hard to trade right now because they might not be at a good buy point right now, but this could certainly be one to watch. Because imagine if in a few weeks this thing came back down and bounced off this trend line, that could potentially be a juicy opportunity. So now let's take a look at what is not hot. And for today, I've got Roku. You can see Roku here has been downtrending lately. It went up, if you go back to the beginning of this year, it went up to right around the 480 level, came back down and pushed up again to the 480 level. And we can go ahead and just drop one of these horizontal lines on here, show some strong resistance right there. We'll zoom in a little bit. Here's that last touch right around the 480, 490 level. You can see what it did. It just has started coming down, coming down, coming down. Yesterday got below 200, down to like the 190 level. I mean, we're talking about since the summer, about a 60% drop on Roku. So interesting things there. I believe I mentioned this on last week's Not Stock, and the same goes for today when you look at earnings. Take a look at these earnings. You see these green earnings boxes. Green means that they beat the expectations. Red, of course, would mean that they fell short of their expectations. And you look at the last earnings, or this was 2 earnings ago on August 4th, they were estimating 14 cents. They got 52 cents. They did so much better. The last one, they were estimating 6 cents of profit, and they did 48 cents. I mean, goodness gracious. And you see the chart still coming down, 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 down. So again, it's one of those where when you have strong earnings reports and the chart still does not hold up, the overall pattern is a downtrend. It just goes to show that it is not hot. So I wonder if this thing is consistent enough here to throw a solid downtrend line on here. Let's take a look. That's close. If you go off that wick, there you go. You go from that wick, it touches right there. You've got that wick right there. So, potentially could be coming down more. We'll just have to wait and see if this thing ever breaks that pattern. But Roku, the not hot stock for today. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today and really honestly this year. We have our last Stock Talk Thursday today. And, before we just wrap it up, let's just take one more look at the market here. Let's just zoom in because I think it's interesting how we're so close to our resistance right here. And the big question I guess I have when we're looking at this overall market is, are we going to break these highs, or is it going to have a more sustained pullback? If we were doing one next week, I would suspect we would know the answer. Because if we don't break those highs, this line right here at 4,700, right around 4,700, then I would expect it to come back down more. But we're gonna have to wait and see. And next time that we're together in, I believe, 3 weeks' time, we're gonna have a lot more data, a lot more information to work with. And we'll have to see if we actually broke those highs and we're maybe starting another bullish uptrend, or if we started coming down, and who knows what things could look like. So now we'll wrap it up for today and for the year. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. We'll see you guys again first Thursday in January of the new year. Thank you guys very much.